Well, good morning. I already made my cup of coffee. I hope you have too, because this is probably, I'm hoping to keep it as short as possible, but I'm guessing that this will be a somewhat long episode. I'm Christopher as always, and today we are finally starting growing and taking a look at some of the things that are cooking here in the indoor garden this season. For those of you who remember, before the summer I decided to get rid of everything that I had in the grow room, and that included the enormous grow box that I had there, and I also had a ton of these raised beds all around here, and this is not something that is good for keeping pests away. So I had fungus gnats, I had spider mites, I had thrips. I got rid of the fungus gnats because I have predatory mites in the soil, and so they are not a problem at all for me. I also got rid of the spider mites. They are coming in waves, and they move slow. So if you get a hold of them while they're still establishing on a plant, it's really not a problem to get rid of them, I found. But the thrips, oh, they fly and they lay eggs in the soil and they do all the bad things. So that's what actually, put the lid on the whole project. So I thought I'd just get rid of everything, and I wanted to restart after the summertime. I had it for about 2 months without anything in here, and that hopefully cleared the whole area, and I did some well-deserved cleaning, and I think I got rid of the problem. So I haven't seen any yet, but I'm cautious. I'm keeping my eyes open. Today I thought I'd just start the whole season by just showing you everything that I have started here. I have a few things, and these are not old plants yet, but they will eventually get more into production, I hope. I have a couple of things here that are, most of these things are actually edible, and I have a few things that I have no idea if I can grow them inside or if it's any point at all, because I think a couple of these things are actually trees. So, and I have, I don't have, I can actually reach the ceiling if I stand up, so yeah, we will just see. I just have to show you a couple of things here. This is from my basil collection this year. I have this, this is the Basil Queenette. No, I'm sorry, the Basil Genovese, the standard regular basil. And it's just so fragrant. And I also have one that is really fragrant. This is the Basil Queenette. This is supposed to flower very early on in the development, and it actually does. And the flowers, it just smells like just a good perfume. So, oh wow. And it doesn't taste that bad either. I might even do a tasting test for all my basils. And here I have a Greek basil. This is a dwarf Greek basil. It is also starting to put out flower heads. I'm not too worried about that. People say that basils start to get a little bit bitter if it goes to flower, but I have plenty, and I'm not going to be cooking with everything here. This is just, this is the basic basil that we use for everything that we use basil for. So it was important for me to have something a little bit big. And this is a really young plant, and I already cut it down from this height, I think. So as you can see, it has a trench in the middle here, and that's just because we have been eating a lot of it. And I also have, oh, let me just see if I can grab it without getting back problems. This is called, I think it is a lemon, or is it? Yeah, it's a lemon basil. And it just smells like, if you have ever tasted those yellow, in Norway there's called, the candy that's called fox. It is just, yeah, it just smells exactly like that candy. So it's a lemon candy, and yeah, it tastes wonderful. So enough of this. This season is going to be hopefully a fun season. We're going to do much more than we have the last seasons. I have a ton of things that I'm thinking of doing programs on. I'm thinking of having a program on my lighting. I'm thinking of doing something on where I buy all my seeds. And we are also going to be doing a few things around how I grow my indoor fruits and vegetables. So we will just wait and see, and I'm hoping that I will be able to put out a show at least every other week. So these are peanuts. Let's just see how far we can take this season. And yeah, so I'm just gonna reset the whole thing here, and I think we can take a look at everything that I have growing here. And if you would like to see it all, I suggest you grab a cup of coffee, because there's quite a bit of things growing here and it's gonna take some time. This is, yeah, just stay tuned. This is actually one of the oldest plants in here. This is one that did survive, and I brought it inside this summer and it came back into the grow room. And it's not prone to have any problems with pests at all. This is my pineapple. It's not a pretty thing. It got too much water this summer and the leaves started to curl and turn purple. But in the end, I don't care. I'm just growing it because it's a fun plant, and if it will ever produce something, it will be just fine. So moving along from that, we have something not too marvelous at the moment. This is actually ginger, and it was planted late and it just sprouted. So I'm gonna be trying to grow some ginger indoors. It's mainly just for the fun of it. I don't expect to get any more ginger roots from this, but it's just something fun to have in the garden. Moving along, we have an orchid. I don't know what type of orchid this is, but it's something. It was actually store-bought and it flowered and the stalks died back. And now it's actually putting out new stalks and it's flowering again. So this is going to be hopefully something that is really nice looking. It's putting out actually 3 stalks of flowers. You have 2 on the sides and there's 1 in the middle there. It's not something phenomenal as of now, but it will probably be pretty nice once it flowers. This is something called a Cimbalo melon. I think it's African. It's I think it produces fruits on the size of a grape or something. Some say the flavor are phenomenal, some say it tastes like crap, so I don't know yet. This one also got too much water, so it has some curled leaves, but I think it will get back into the game. This is the one that looks the worst. This is actually just a cotton plant, some green cotton. But I'm thinking it will survive. It's starting to put out new shoots now, and hopefully it will do something great this winter. This is a pepper plant. This is actually the F2 stage of my own cross. If you have been following me for a while, you might have seen the cross that I made, my first pepper cross. I did a video where I tasted the pepper and it was extremely hot. But this is actually seeds grown out from the one that I harvested and ate on camera. And I'm really waiting for this to come into fruiting and see if it looks something similar to the previous, to the parent plant. So let's keep our fingers crossed on that one. This is called Patisson. I think it's called a Patisson Golden Marble Scallop Squash. Wow, that's a long name. This is a squash and it's supposed to have like the scallop star type of fruits. It's supposed to be yellow. So I am really curious to see if I can get fruits on this indoor. Last year I had, or was it the year before? Wow, the time flies. I think it was the year before. I had some regular green squash growing indoors, and it was a phenomenally huge plant, but it never got pollinated correct. But then again, that was my first year growing, and I think I know, hopefully I know a little bit more this year. So let's just see how it goes this year. I have to come back a little bit for this one. I'm growing rice indoors. I did try that before, but it got attacked by bugs and I just threw out the whole thing. This one, it has some brown tips, but it's not a big deal. It's just it really fast get brown tips if it's deficient of water. So I have to water this almost about a liter every day. It takes crazy amount of water, and it has to be drinking a lot of water. And this is a rice type. It's called rice blue bonnet, and it's supposed to be able to grow without having being completely soaked in water like the regular rice. So yeah, let's keep our fingers crossed on that one also. This is one of my basils. This is a Greek dwarf. It's the one that I showed you earlier, and it's looking so healthy. It's actually in a small pot without any drainage holes. So yeah, I'm amazed that I could actually grow it this nice in this kind of a pot. And behind, in the larger pot, I have my peanuts. These are actually called pinstriped peanuts, and they are supposed to be striped, red and white striped. And as I saw from the seeds when I got them, they are, and they taste just amazing. The plant grows a little bit different than the regular peanuts that I'm used to grow, and it puts out all the flowers right at the bottom of the stem. So I don't know what to expect. It might grow a little bit different, or it might not be old enough to set fruit yet, but we will just see how this one puts down its peanut stalks. This is my enormous Basil Genovese. This is the biggest basil I've ever grown indoors, but it provides us with more than enough basil. So we probably won't be able to eat up everything, but it's nice to have unlimited supply of basil indoors this winter. Here we have some lemongrass. There's nothing spectacular with it, and it's planted way too dense to be able to form the nice stalks. And I don't expect it to do that either, because it requires a lot of heat and a lot of sunlight to be able to form those purple stalks. So I'm just growing it because I love the smell of it and I like to chew on the leaves. It just tastes good. Back here we have some of my lemons or citrus trees. Well, trees, I don't know yet, but they will hopefully one day become trees. These are Kaffir Limes. I'm growing these because I would like to eat the leaves. These are regular in both Mexican and Thai food. So we're growing it for the leaves. And here we have a key lime. I'm just growing it because I had the seeds for it. So let's just see how that one grows. And we have another key lime. No, I'm sorry, Kaffir lime. I have, I think I have 3 Kaffir limes, and that's mainly just because I would love to have some leaves to put in the food later this season. And here we have something not looking, spectacular at the moment. It's actually an acai palm, and this one, I think it grows to about 30 feet or 10 meters, so I don't think it will grow to full size here. But it's nice to have a palm, and I got it to sprout, and I'm happy about that. So hopefully it will grow a little bit bigger here. This is called, I have to get a side shot from this. This is called a Blackberry Lily, I think. My typing is somewhat bad. This is supposed to be some sort of a flower, and it's a strange thing because, as you can see, it's so thin, and the leaves just seem to be splitting, and new leaves just come out from the old leaves. So I thought of it, and the flowers looked nice, and I was thinking that I should grow a few things here that actually flower and looks nice. So this is one of them. And behind, for those of you who follow Ray, you might notice this from a few years back when he started his own. This is actually called a Dwarf Papaya, and it doesn't look remarkable for now, but it's growing nice. The one tip that I would give on this plant is do not water too much. It hates being too moist. And as you can see, I actually got a little bit of a burn on the lower leaves for overwatering it. This pot is almost bone dry now, and now it's actually putting out new leaves all the time, and they come out so healthy. So yeah, do not overwater. In front here, this is the tallest, well, the next to tallest plant here. This is a Dwarf Moringa. I have 3 of them growing in this decent sized pot. I'm growing this just because it will be fun to see if I can harvest some leaves and make powder from it, because it's supposed to be really, really nutrient rich. So yeah, we will see if that works. This one also doesn't like to get its feet too wet, so the leaves start yellowing very fast if you overwater it. And it also wilts really easy if it gets too little of the water. Here we have the lemon basil. This is also looking so fresh, and it's really, really dense seeded. I put in a ton of seeds, and my idea is to thin out as we eat, and hopefully it will grow some larger stalks, but I'm not sure what to expect in this size pot, because it's a fairly small pot. Behind we have one of the trees, and I really don't know too much about this. I'm gonna swing around the moringa here. This is called breadnut. Yep, it's called a breadnut tree. I don't know what to expect from this, but it just looked fun online when I was shopping seeds. And to be honest, I don't really remember what it's supposed to be, but it probably comes with some sort of strange seeds or fruits or something, so it had to trigger my interest. So we will see if this one, how tall it will grow and how I can prune this. And if we continue on here, we get into something that's actually something that we're gonna eat this winter, hopefully. This is called a Pandora striped rose, actually. This is eggplant, and these ones are thin and striped, I think. And we also have one here that's called Aswad, I don't know. It's supposed to be really, really big and black, so we will just see if it produces any fruits. I'm not sure I have the energy in the room in the lighting and everything to grow large fruits, but I'm hoping that it will produce something at least. And back there we have some wild guava. These are, I actually had a little bit of a trouble sprouting these the first time that I did, because I tried it last year and it didn't sprout. But this year it sprouted very well, so I don't know. It probably was something that I did, or the seeds that I got last year wasn't too good. But this year it sprouted very well for me, so yeah. We have 2 cucumbers. This one is called Telegraph Telegraph Improved. I think it's long and thin, like the regular ones that you buy at the store. And I wanted to grow cucumbers because I did that the first year in the same setup, and it worked out perfectly. We got a lot of big cucumbers, so I'm trying again this year. This is licorice. It's grown for its roots, and it's used to licorice flavor things. I don't know, it's not doing very well. I have to repot it, I think, because this one also got a little bit too much water and the bottom leaves are yellowing. And beside that we have Kiwano horned cucumber. This is actually the yellow strange cucumber that you might have seen at the store, which have thorns. I've never tasted it before, but it's supposed to be nice. So I'm thinking of, at least I just put some seeds in, and I want to see if I can find some room for it if it decides to stick around. So it would be fun to see that kind of a plant. This is called an early fortune cucumber. Again, I think it's a pickling or like a Boston style cucumber. It also will grow beside the other cucumber on the trellis that I have behind the grow box here. So hopefully we will have cucumbers. Okay, moving along. This is my desert display. This is my huge aloe, the one that I have been growing for a little over a year, I think now, and it looks phenomenal. And it has put out quite a bit of babies. So there's, I think it's 6 or 7 babies all around. But I'm gonna just keep it in the pot, and eventually the aloe will just take over the whole pot, but I will just move the other things that I have growing here. And the other things are my aloe humilis. I think this one is like the best looking aloe. It just looks fantastic, and it has a bunch of tiny white horns, and it looks just phenomenal. And this one decided to flower again. So it actually just flowered yesterday, and I had flowers on this one about a year ago, and the stock was way longer, and I think that was because I had not as good lighting as I have now. So hopefully this one is doing well, and I'm not sure what happens if this one gets pollinated correctly, but I'm walking around just tickling everything here and there just to make sure that if there's something I can do, I will sure try to do it. We have a couple of succulents. I don't know what the names are for these. I'm really not into succulents, but I have to say this is just a beautiful plant. This one and the other succulent that I have is this one, and they don't speak out too much in the room, but I think if you get close down to them, I think succulents are just beautiful plants. So I think I will propagate a few of these and see if I can grow a few more and just have a succulent display in here. Here we have a strange looking cactus, and we also have one starting out in there. This is actually the prickly pear that I gave out seeds from last year in the free seed giveaway. And I got one of them to sprout, and I again planted one this fall when I started back up in here. And I don't know what to make of these, but I think it's just fun to grow a cactus from seed, and hopefully it will grow a little bit bigger, but it's a slow grower, I have to say. This one is, I think it's almost a year old now, I think, so yeah. Or if it's, I think it might be a year old now. Yeah, it's a slow grower. Here we have more food for the family. This is cilantro, or coriander as we in Norway call it. It's been cut here and there because we have been eating a lot from it. And I'm planning on growing several of this size pots with coriander because we are using it all the time. And basil and coriander are things that we just eat fresh all the time. So that's a keeper. And down here we have a wandering Jew. This one was actually very much bigger before the summer, but it got the problem with the pests, and I just took off one clipping and just shoved it in the soil, and it seems to be starting back up now. So it was just a couple of leaves before it started to grow, and now it's actually taking off. So I'm expecting this one to be a huge one in the garden. And it's a very common plant, but I really like both the feel of the leaves and the colors. They just look phenomenal. So this is a keeper. And here we have the Basil Queenette. This one is the one that's supposed to be remarkable for its flowers and not necessarily the taste. And as you can see, the flowers are just fantastic looking. They look really, really nice, and they have a smell that you won't believe. You have to just grow it. It's something that you can grow, and this one is growing in not the best of conditions. It has a small pot also, but it's growing like crazy. So this one is actually a plant I think you could grow inside with ease this winter. So yeah, just give it a try. This one is called, I never remember. This one is called Dracaena, Janet Craig Dracaena. Yeah, I just got it as a tiny plant this summer, and I don't know. I think it gets tall, but yeah, I don't know if this one is staying, because I think it's to be honest kind of a boring plant. Here we have my third and last eggplant in the grow room. I have too much eggplant, but I just put a few seeds in the ground from everything that I had, and it sprouted like crazy, and it started to grow and look nice. So it outgrew some other things that I just started at the same time. So this one is actually going to stay, I think, in this pot. It's called Mitoyo. Is it called Mitoyo? I think it's Mitoyo. It's supposed to be a Japanese eggplant, and it's supposed to be really good. So I'm hoping to get some fruits from this one also. And actually a couple of the plants now have started to form flower heads. I don't know if you can see it down there, but there's actually a flower head starting. So I think I'm gonna cut the heads off and see if I can grow it up, because it's putting out new shoots everywhere along the stem. So I'm not gonna keep it too tall. I'm just gonna trim it and see if I can make it a little bit more bushy. And behind here is something familiar for those of you who follow Ray. This is actually the Praxxus Cherry. So I had seeds sent to me by my good friend over at the Urban Gardener channel. And he sent me some seeds for this and said I just have to grow this one because it's an amazing tasting tomato. And I had one growing outside this summer, and it produced some really, really nice fruits. And it has a much better flavor than you would expect just by looking at the fruits. So I'm hoping to get some tomatoes indoors, and it's starting to look really, really nice. The soil is almost all the way to the top of this pot. And when it started out way at the bottom. So so this one has been growing, and I have been backfilling the soil because I planted this one really, really deep to make sure that I have a good root system for this. So hopefully we will get tomatoes. And we're getting into a couple of peppers now. This is a fish pepper, and you might think that the leaves are somewhat taken over by mites, or that there is some funny disease going on with this one, but it's actually not the case. This is called a fish pepper, and it's actually supposed to put out those white striped leaves. So, and the fruits also are supposed to be green and white striped. So I am really, really looking forward to see if I can get fruits on this and how they will look. And if I get fruits and the flowers look nice, I think I might try to do a cross with this one, because it could be fun to see what we can get out of this type of plant. And moving on to the next pepper, this is called a Shishito. This is my favorite pepper. I've spoken highly of it before, but this is just a phenomenal pepper for grilling. So I'm hoping to grow this one fairly large, and I also have started another one somewhere here. So yeah, I'm gonna hopefully grow 2 plants of Shishito this winter. This one is called the MOA Scotch Bonnet, and it was sent to me by Kangstar. This one also are starting to put out some really nice growth. I had some Scotch bonnets growing outside this summer, but I only got a couple of fruits from it. So, but I really like the taste of it, and hopefully this one will grow fairly large because it has a huge pot, and it already started out in this one. So hopefully we will get some good growth on this. Behind it we have something not looking too remarkable at the moment. This is my mango. This was just planted from a seed that I got from a fruit we bought at the local store. So yeah, it doesn't look too good for now, but hopefully it will grow a little bit more in the future. This is a cutting and it's finally rooted. This one has been staying in water for close to 2 months now without putting out roots, and as you can see it looks like it has completely died, but it finally did put out some roots, and it's time to get this one in some dirt. And I'm really positive about this, and I think it will come back from the dead, and hopefully it will put out new shoots soon, and we will have something growing. Oh, I might not mention what it is. This is actually one of the other crosses that I made last year indoor, and I tried to grow it outside this summer, but it was grown outside the greenhouse and it just didn't do anything there. So I just thought I'd bring in a piece of the plant, and hopefully it will take root in the soil, and we will have some more crossed peppers. This one isn't looking too good. This is called a Carob. This is also a tree. I don't know too much about it, but you could Google it after the episode. As you can see, the 2 leaves on the left there are completely dry, and that's because I actually underwatered something for a change. So, but it's putting out 2 new leaves now, and it's coming back, and yeah, it's a slow grower, but hopefully it will turn into something, because I really like the design of the leaves on this, so hopefully it will grow some more. Okay, getting into the few lasts. This is an olive tree. This one was grown, this one was bought as a bonsai, and it has just halted growing. But if I have read correct online, because if it's on the internet, it has to be true. And the internet tells me that this one will go into a dormant stage, and suddenly it will just start producing new buds and new leaves. So I'm just waiting for that, because it hasn't been growing for, yeah, I would say 3 months now, and I'm getting anxious for this to put out some more leaves so I can trim it a little bit and see if we can make it a little bit nicer than what it is at the moment. And here is my spider plant. Some of you might have seen this one before. It's been in my videos for the last almost year, I think, and it's growing in the smallest pot that I have in here. And I'm amazed at how good these plants adapt to this size of a pot. It's still as fresh and green as ever, and it's putting out flower stalks everywhere, and it's even putting out babies. So someday I will transplant this, but it looks nice as it is, and I think, yeah, it's gonna stay in this pot for a while because it just looks nice the way it is. And in the back here we have something called a Thai Red Roselle, if I remember correct. I don't know too much about this also. I was I actually got this one by mistake, because I was looking for Thai basil, and Thai Red Roselle came up, and I just added to cart. And as soon as I got to checkout, I realized that, well, this isn't basil at all. But I started reading a little bit about it, and it's used for making teas and stuff. So I thought I'd just give it a try. It's supposed to be a fairly large bush, but I'm I'm thinking that I can grow it a little bit, and it would be so much fun to see if I can get it to flower, because the flowers are supposed to be nice. It looks like a rose, I think. Okay, I think that was close to it. I just have one big giant I have to show you, but I need to reconfigure something here, so just hold on tight. This is the last of my friends. This is my banana plant. And this one was actually, I would say, less than a foot tall a couple of months ago. And it's growing like crazy. I've never seen anything grow it as fast. It grows a lot faster than the bananas that I had last year. And it's putting out a new set of leaves almost every week. So, and it's putting out these enormous leaves. And they look really, really healthy. Well, actually, one of them split and it started to brown a little bit, but I don't think that's a huge problem. And it's putting out new leaves like this all the time. It smells fantastic also, I have to say. If you take some of the leaves and just shred them a little bit, because the leaves that are on the bottom, as you can see on this one, it will get a little bit brown, and once it gets brown you can just snip off the whole leaf and it will eventually turn into some dried paper-like tissue. And if you just rub the leaves once you cut it off, it's a phenomenal smell. It smells like green bananas, so it's really nice. This is Musa Dwarf Cavendish banana, I think, and it's supposed to be edible, but I can't imagine at all that I would have fruits on this, because even though it's a dwarf, I think it will be about 3 meters before it sets out fruits. So I can't handle that that height in here, so it will probably just grow to the ceiling and I will cut it down and just restart the whole procedure. And it's actually starting to put out a pup. Oh, and there is actually one other. This one I haven't seen, so this one is fresh from today. And these ones will also grow into big plants. So, and as you can see, it's fairly thick. So it's growing like mad. And this one also is somewhat thirsty, so it has to have a ton of water. Yeah, I think that does it for the round trip, and I'll just reset and I'll get back to you. Yeah, I know this was a long one, but I just wanted to show you everything that I have growing. And I'm gonna try to list a few of the things that I showed you in the description below. So please just take a look there if there's something that you are curious about reading up on. So I will feature all of these plants in the upcoming episodes and we can watch them grow together. So I just need to show you, well, I'm not going to show you, but I just need to mention that I forgot one plant, and that's actually one of the nicest that I have. It's the Dwarf Pomegranate, and it's looking so nice and it's bushing out and doing everything. So, but this one will be featured in an upcoming episode. So I'm just curious, what are you growing indoors this winter? Because I think I have a head start on most people. I don't think there's too many people, especially around here, that has something similar cooking. So I'm just curious, what are you growing? And do you have any troubles growing basil indoors? Because I have been using the last 2 years on trying to perfect the way that I grow them. And finally, I think I'm at the point where I'm satisfied with the results. So just if you have any experience about growing basil indoors, I would love to know it. So everything in the comment section down below if there is anything. This one is long drawn out. I'm not gonna keep you any longer. You're probably on your 3rd cup of coffee right now. So this is Christopher saying, may the force be with you, and I'll see you in the next episode. Yes. This one, this was a fun one. We're finally there. Oh,